have to worry so much about how they're going to eat or how they're going to survive because the Scandinavian countries are more socialist in nature. Populations that were more effective at clamping down, they saw, of course, fewer deaths, but nonetheless, the virus still followed the same path as any other nation. And that could be because the virus has its own sort of lifespan, its own life cycle where it realizes, it attacks all these humans, as many humans as it can get itself onto in those early stages. And then it kind of realizes, maybe I'm not really meant for humans. And it starts to slowly become less viable as a virus. That's possible. We don't really know. But what we do know is that we're seeing fewer hospitalizations. So even though the cases are going up, what these doctors are saying is that, yes, it might still be able to spread from person to person. It might be mutating to a point where it spreads as fast as it can to as many people as it can. And it realizes for its own survival, because viruses are trying to survive, it realizes for its own survival that it's better for it to not kill the host in order to continue spreading. You want a host that's going to go around and move about so that the virus can go from person to person. If that's the case, then and less of the virus is going from one person to the next, it's very possible that COVID-19 becomes like a cold, like the common cold, and it just becomes another form of the common cold where it's not that deadly. Sure, a very, very sick person who's already in hospice care, the common cold could kill them. That's the way it is now. So it could evolve into something very similar to that. Furthermore, we're seeing more and more reports also come out in the same vein that COVID-19 is not nearly as deadly as originally thought. I think we're all kind of now understanding that. Here's a variety of headlines here. Here's from NPR. New data shows the coronavirus is less lethal than first thought. They say about 1.7 million people have been infected by the coronavirus in the U.S., and scientists are finding evidence that the virus is both more common and less deadly than it first appeared. Here's another one. This one is from, this was a publication about Germany. It says the COVID-19 coronavirus that has swept the world is less deadly than experts first thought, and governments implemented lockdown measures too quickly before we could study it, according to leading German virologist Professor Hendrik Streeck. Speaking to Unheard's Lockdown TV, Streeck said his study of coronavirus outbreak in a German county revealed a fatality rate of 0.24 to 0.36%, which is significantly lower than the 0.8 to 0.9% estimated by prominent British epidemiologist Neil Ferguson. Here's another one from Live Science saying coronavirus death rate may be lower than previously thought, saying the coronavirus mortality rate might be lower than previously thought, according to a new study. A group of researchers analyzed data from China and found that the overall mortality rate of COVID-19 was 1.38%. But if they adjusted for cases that likely went unaccounted for due to their mild or asymptomatic nature, the overall mortality rate decreased to around 0.66%. They reported on March 30th in the Lancet, in journal The Lancet Infectious Diseases. Now that was in March. We've evolved even further, and we've had more widespread testing. We're seeing more and more cases because we're testing more, but our hospital rates are going down and our death rates are going down. So even if we're seeing spikes in cases, we're seeing this all the time in the news now. They're saying, oh, more cases. Cases are going up. They said Florida's reopening, but Florida's getting more and more cases, and California's getting more cases. What's up with that? And it's because we're doing more widespread testing. The numbers to pay attention to are hospitalizations and deaths. Those are the curves we have to watch out for. If everybody gets sick but nobody dies, what does it matter? Then okay, oh well, that is like the common cold. So the number of people who get sick is not the number we need to be paying attention to. We need to be paying attention to how many people are hospitalized and how many people die. Those are the only numbers that matter. So what we're seeing is that there is this more and more evidence that the virus is either losing its steam and it's not real and it's becoming less deadly, or it's possible that it wasn't really as deadly to begin with. These are all, at the end of the day, it's looking like come fall, it will be very difficult to talk the populations into shutting down again. And come fall, when this virus is maybe has disappeared like SARS-1, or maybe it's evolved into another form of the common cold and it's not deadly really to the majority of people, to the vast majority, overwhelming, except in rare cases of somebody in hospice. Then they might say, oh, look, our lockdowns worked. Look, everything we did worked and it was all a success. And that's not necessarily true either. It would just be, perhaps that was luck. Or, we can't say that lockdowns stopped the spread of SARS-1 when that's not the case. It just disappeared on its own. So these are some good news and things to kind of calm people down, hopefully, to get us, as the economy opens back up, to get people back out there and not so afraid. So that is some of the latest with, how scared should we be going forward with this coronavirus. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, hit the bell.